Panasonic 7-14mm f4 with E-M5 Mark III. I'm using the sensor only. I'm not using the EIS. If I'm going to use the EIS, it's going to crop 1.2. It's technically going to turn 7mm to 9mm. So we are at 7mm. I'm using the portrait profile as stock setting. How good is the video quality? I'm using the Audio Technica 809912 microphone. So can you zoom in slowly to show? 8mm. Can you come on the side corner? People are walking. Come here. So right now 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 and 14. Yeah.
That's
So
great.
right now we are the max 14mm. Just go to 7mm. So yeah, this is 7mm. Good morning, welcome to Outing Journal. 7-14mm on the E-M5 Mark III. I'm using the viewer profile, sharpness -2, contrast +2, shadow and highlight -3, and I'm using the Audio Technica 809912 microphone. How good is the audio? Let me bring the microphone to me. How good is the audio? So 7mm IBIS only, no EIS. I'm handling the camera from the lens. Let me just walk. So this is a real world vlog to demonstrate the capability of the E-M5 Mark III with the 7-14. So how good it is. I know there will be some warping behind me because if we're using the very wide focal length such as this one 7mm, which is 14mm in full frame, there are going to be some kind of like warping behind me. The only lens which do not do are the Canon 10-18, 10-22, Nikon 10-20, and Canon 11-22mm. They do not do this kind of wrapping behind. But the Fujifilm also 10-24 do, Mark 1 and Mark 2 both of them do. Even the Sony 10-80mm do. I think only the Tamron 11-20mm do not do that wrapping. So I'm right now 7mm. When I turn on the EIS is going to crop 1.2. So it means that it's going to turn my 7mm into 9mm. So this is 7mm. My arm is fully extend. So I'm using the viewer profile. I just wanna see. So let me just show you. Okay, here we are going. So this is the early morning real world test with this 7mm. Right now we are 7. Let me just go to 8. Right now we are 8mm, 9mm, 10mm. Do the wrapping is eliminated or not. One thing I do not like about the E-M5 is or the Olympus camera is their level, because I don't know am I level or not. I have no idea, because the level it have a level, but it have a level of like a life bar. It's like you're playing a video game. This is your life bar. I really do not like it. It's very annoying. It's very impractical in a real world. Okay, let me just try to level. Okay, now I'm level. Okay, we are 10mm, 11mm, 12mm, 13mm, 14mm. So this is the 7mm you are going to get. Now let me turn on the EIS as 7mm. So this is 7mm and this is 9mm. So 7mm. Now we are going to turn EIS is going to turn into a 9mm. We are still at 7mm, but I have turned on the EIS. I know it's going to turn into 9mm. But let's see, do it fix the wrapping or not? So I'm at 7mm, but it become like a 9mm. Let's see, do it fix the wrapping or not? Really, this camera is very hard to level, especially with the ultra wide. I'm trying my best to level. I'm just looking at a screen. Leveling is not easy, to be honest. It's really very hard. Let me just show you the level. Okay, here you go. So as you can see, leveling this camera is not that easy, it's very hard to level. So are we level or not? Okay, are we level? Okay, when it become green then we are level. So now you can see, no, now we are level. Okay, now let me see, now we are level. But when I start moving, the leveling just went off of the axis. It's very hard to level. So let's continue, and then now let me just switch some. Let me just go to the stock setting of the camera. I'm going to put everything into like 0 sharpness, 0 everything 0. Here you go. So as you can see, leveling this camera is not that easy, it's very hard to level. So are we level or not? Okay, are we level? Okay, when it become green then we are level. So now you can see, no, now we are level. Okay, now let me see, now we are level. But when I start moving, the leveling just went off of the axis. It's very hard to level. I have turned on the EIS. Right now I'm in the mode 2 of IS mode 2, and then now this is the same viewer profile, but I have turned the shadow and highlight to 0 sharpness, contrast, everything to 0, gradation to auto. This is the out of the box viewer profile setting you are going to get. Again, the leveling can be a problem. I really like 7mm. One thing I figured it out, the E-M5 have a 5-axis stabilization, but it performed a little bit poorly with its predecessor, with the E-M5 Mark II. And especially even compared with the 3-axis such as EPL9, EPL10, I'm not impressed. Like EPL9 and my beloved EPL10 only have a 3-axis, but it performed quite well. But this one is a little bit of disappointment, to be honest with you. So let me recharge my Octopus card. Okay, let me go inside. We have 7mm, IBIS only, no EIS. Sập嘛，係十。唔該晒。So I already recharged my Octopus card, and let's keep walking. 7mm is a very ultra wide, but again, now one of the downside of this 7 to 14mm is the purple blob is flare very badly. You have to be careful when you're shooting outdoor in the direct sunlight. Let me just point at sunlight. If it's a purple blob or not. Let's keep moving, and I'm going to turn on the EIS now again. So this is the eye enhanced profile, everything is 0, and when you're using the eye enhanced profile there is no gradation available. Personally I like to use gradation at auto and sometimes low. I rarely go at high. And this is 7mm with the EIS. Now it's somewhere around 9mm. How good is the wrapping? Is the background wrapping behind me or not? I saw your face. No, I'm waiting for my wife. My wife went out to buy some bread. So let me just switch around and show you. So right now we are at 7mm, but it's become 9mm. But you will be wondering, what about if I turn to 9mm? You're thinking to buy the 9 to 18mm. So when you're at 9mm with the EIS, it become like 11mm. So right now I'm at the outside in the market, 7mm, but I'm using the EIS, so it's become a 9mm. So let me just walk around and then show you something. So this is early morning. 9mm sometimes can become a little bit tight, sometimes very hard to demonstrate. So this is a 9mm lens. So this is 7mm. I turn on the EIS. Let me turn off the EIS and show you. So right now we have 7mm. I have turned off the EIS, and finally I met my wife. Here you go, Rabia. So this is 7mm. The EIS is off, but it's going to wrap behind me, isn't it? So I'm using the natural profile. Rabia,
Yes.
money.
Yeah, thank you.
So I'm using the natural profile. So now we are 7mm at its full glory, but the background is going to wrap around. So there's a purple blob also behind me happening. I really do not like the purple blob, to be honest with you. And again, I'm using the 809912 microphone. Probably what you wanna buy? Buy fast. So right now I have turned on the muter profile. I have turned on the EIS. So 7mm become the 9mm. So is it wrapping or not? I hope so it's not. Let's see what we can find. I hope it's not wrapping.
Two things.
You wanna go to Indonesia shop? Indonesia shop.
It's not open.
So now I'm going to put on 9mm with the EIS, so it becomes the 11mm. I'm using the muter profile. So now 9mm with the EIS become around 11mm. So this one 9mm EIS, 7mm with EIS. Rabia, where are you? What do you wanna buy? Is there a papaya? 9mm, 7mm, 9mm, 8mm, 9mm, 10mm, 11mm, 12mm, 30mm, 40mm with EIS, 7mm with EIS. Right now I am using the portrait profile. I have turned off the EIS. Now we are at 7mm. Rabia, the cheaper shop is not open. I'm just trying my best to level the camera. I hope so I can level it. So now let me jump to 9mm. I'm thinking to upgrade to Panasonic 20 to 60mm for the full frame. I'm thinking to move to full frame just due to that lens. 9mm and 10mm. So this is 10mm versus 7mm. Sensor only, no EIS. I hope so the video quality is good. I hope so. I'm using the monochrome. I'm at 7mm with the EIS, so it's like 9mm. I hope so the background is not wrapping. So how good is the monochrome? So yeah, this is the monochrome. I think I have to buy a cake. So there's a vehicle coming behind me. I have to be careful. Let me just go. Rabia, I wanna buy the cake. So let me go and buy the cake 1 minute. There are a lot of vehicles. 1 minute. I just wanna buy the cake. Okay, let's go. Now we are at 8mm with EIS, 7mm, 8mm, 9mm, 10mm with EIS. So you just 1.2 times crop. So at 10 millimeter, technically we are 12 millimeter, 13 millimeter. Sorry, this is the 11 millimeter, 12 millimeter, 13 millimeter, and 14 millimeter. So yeah, 14 millimeter is like 1.2 is technically somewhere around 16 millimeter, 16.5 millimeter. Let's go to 7 millimeter. So right now I'm using the pop art filter 1, 7 millimeter with EIS, so it's like 9 millimeter. Let's see what we wanna eat. So if I go to 9 millimeters, become 11 millimeter with the EIS. So Rabia, what you wanna eat? You wanna eat some pudding?
Okay.
No, tell me, or you wanna eat or not? Is there some left, like the Shahi Tukre left at home?
Yeah, they are nice.
Then okay, I will just buy a cake. Okay, this is the cake I wanna buy. So this is the eye enhanced profile, and I buy my favorite resin loaf. I really love it. I'm using the eye enhanced profile 7 millimeter with the sensor only. The EIS is off. I hope you like this video. Rabi, let's go. And this is going to be the 9 millimeter. Maybe I'm thinking to get a 9 to 18, which is super light. So because I do not like the purple blob on this one, there's a huge purple blob. We have 9 millimeter sensor stabilization. I hope you like my real world test of this. I try my best to test as many picture profile, and try to test all of the focal length available 7 to 14 with the sensor and EIS also. So make sure to visit outingjournal.com. Bye.